Today we got another package straight from China. This time it is a hard drive from Kinhank right off of Aliexpress. Now this is a 4 terabyte Hyperspin build is what we got here. Took a few weeks to get to me. When I first noticed it on Aliexpress, it was a little over $100. I believe it's still around that price. And with Hyperspin, I mean, you could play tons of different consoles, PC games. And I wanted to kind of check this out, see how easy it is to get set up, test some games out and whatnot, see if there's anything to note here for people. I mean, this thing is Soulja Boy'd up to the max. You know what you're getting yourself into. But taking a look, this thing came in a U-green hard drive enclosure, which I found interesting as I did buy the same exact enclosure not too long ago to move a hard drive from an old PC I had and get some information off of it. So you take an internal drive, pop it into the enclosure, use it on your PC, plug in the power, the USB, and you're good to go type of thing. So that's how this came. And that enclosure is typically around $25 on Amazon. It works out decently well for me. So I found that interesting. Now the hard drive that we got in this is a Seagate Terascale hard drive. It's a 4 terabyte drive. Now, this drive is going for, if you buy it renewed on Amazon, it's around $55. Buy it new, it's $65. So the price point here, you know, you're paying $20, $30 more for a AliExpressified hard drive, if you will. So there it is. I want to go ahead and get this thing plugged into my PC and take a look and see what to do, test some games out. Okay, so here we go. I got the hard drive plugged into my PC, ready to go. And as you remember, the product did come with like a little instruction pamphlet explaining how to do the setup. Wasn't like all inclusive, didn't go into extreme detail, doesn't explain everything, but on the hard drive, it does have the setup user guide that you have to follow to get everything going. So I'm using Windows 10, 64-bit system. I'm gonna go into this folder here. There's some other information here if you wanna read through it. TeamViewer, I'm assuming whoever initially built this maybe offered like to set it up for you, because no matter what anybody tells you, Hyperspin drives that are offered out there are not plug and play. You cannot plug them into your PC and just start gaming. There is a lot of things you have to do, but don't worry about that TeamViewer crap. I've scanned through everything on here, and there doesn't seem to be anything out of place, you know, from normal Hyperspin setup for the most part. This could be a little daunting to some, but if you just go down in order, follow everything. Do you have any question with certain things, or certain things seem like, why should I have to do that? Research it, but there's going to be people out there in the Hyperspin community. They're not going to offer support for a hard drive you bought off of AliExpress. So keep that in mind. You're going to have to figure things out if you have a question, but most of this is pretty self-explanatory. Just get it set up and going. Once you get to the game loader stuff, don't want to get into extreme detail on that, but if you don't know the history behind this program, there can be certain things that throw you off. And if you do get thrown off by anything you see, research it so you understand that, hey, certain things, for whatever reasons, just a joke. It actually works a certain way, and it is needed for certain emulators to run properly. But there is that. Once you've gone through everything, just, fair warning, know what you're getting yourself into, no matter, it's not necessarily about this product, Hyperspin. I mean, if you get this and you're not confident with setting it up, maybe just port it to, Launchbox, Big Box, that type of thing, which is fairly simple to do. Maybe we'll do that in another video. But once all that's done, all you need to do is launch from the root of the drive, the hyperspin.exe. Now, if you wanted to run this on like an arcade machine that you set up with a PC and you just want to boot into it, then you would obviously set hyperspin.exe on this drive to run on startup of your machine. But we're not going to do that today, but that is one thing you may want to do. So we're going to go ahead and boot that up and take a look at what we got. Once booted up, you are greeted to like a little splash screen intro video. Now, if you have a controller plugged in, this is set up to use Xbox controllers, so that's what I'm using. You press A, you could just skip the intro sequence, go straight to the system wheels, and you'll notice there is a buttload of them. It takes forever to scroll through every system. You got some old stuff, some, more higher powered, newer stuff on here, things I can't even talk about. It is ridiculous what's going on with this build. Now, as you see, there's like over 400 wheels, I believe, and not all of them are actual consoles. Some of them are compilations or collections. I suppose some people may think, oh, it makes it easier to find certain things. I argue it just clutters things up even more. if you start getting accustomed to how Hyperspin works and how to customize things, you can obviously remove wheels from the system and kind of narrow it down for yourself. But yeah, this is a PC build, so obviously performance with certain things, the more higher powered stuff is really going to be dependent upon your PC. I tested out quite a few games here. I mean, I'm running a fairly newer PC build that is powerful enough to run everything on this hard drive, old and new alike. But dependent upon your PC, dependent upon your own configurations, there may be certain things that you're going to have to do to get the best performance out of some of these emulators. I mean, PlayStation 2 as an example, you may have to jump in there and start tweaking certain things depending on your graphics card, your CPU, what your PC is actually capable of to get the best performance. Even for me, I mean, there's certain things, not really performance, but graphics issues that I had to go back in and figure out how to fix within the actual emulator. So there will be things that you're going to have to maintain after the fact. After you do all that setup, you get this thing plugged in and get going. This is like, Hyperspin's like a project. Any of these kind of builds, I mean, you have to learn how to tweak certain things to get the best out of it. And this is going to be no different here. Now, everything for me has run fine, but there are going to be certain things that I've noticed with this build. And I think maybe it's because they offer like an 8 terabyte and a 12 terabyte one. There was a few things, like some of the Sega arcade stuff that is in the wheels, but the launcher's not actually on the drive. Like, I found certain things where it's like, okay, this doesn't even exist. It's not on here, so I can't play it. You could find that stuff by following whatever the error it gives you. It'll typically give you like a path on the drive. I mean, you could start looking through that and then looking through the actual emulator and ROM sets and yeah, certain things. I mean, it wasn't a lot, but it was a few, and it was mostly some Sega, like later Sega arcade stuff that was missing from the drive for me. Not a huge deal, but I had to point that out. Some things that I haven't even discovered yet may be missing. Most of the systems on here are going to be complete setups of the library, other than newer stuff. You're not going to have everything on there, obviously. And by newer stuff, I mean, like, you know, stuff from like 10, 15 years ago type of thing. You may not, like for the disc-based systems, you're not going to have every single game for them. Not every emulator is going to be configured to display the game in the original aspect ratio, so that may be another thing that you have to figure out how to do. Just certain things that I have to point out with a product like this. If you buy a Hyperspin hard drive off of Aliexpress, eBay, you know, in the alley behind your house somewhere, it doesn't freaking matter. Like, there's going to be things you're going to have to learn. And I didn't want to just like, I wanted to mess with this product myself. Like, I just wanted to check it out. And I had a few people bring this up in the past, like, hey, do you see this hard drive on AliExpress? And it's just more of a warning. Know what you're getting yourself into. None of this stuff is going to be exactly plug and play. You're going to have to fiddle fuck with certain things. You're going to have to learn certain things. But once you do, it kind of gets to the point where it's like, well, maybe it would have been more, you know, it would have been better to learn all this stuff yourself and start from scratch. But I understand there's always a market for stuff like this that's kind of pre-built, kind of pre-set up. I mean, I get it, but I just wanted to do this video kind of as a warning a bit to understand what you're getting yourself into, and it's not as simple as some people may make it seem. I mean, if you're accustomed to it, you know how things work, you've set up Hyperspin in the past, yeah, it will be simple. If you have the time to dedicate to figure things out, why the heck not? I get it. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be some things you need to do, some, you know, fine tuning and whatnot with a build like this. I just wanted to give you guys the heads up on it and test it out. So really do appreciate every single one of you guys hanging out with me today. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.